Hello, everyone, and welcome to a 6 Month Smiles webinar. My name is Stephen Incontrera, Content Marketing Manager over at 6 Month Smiles. And today we have a great presenter who is going to walk you through how to sell more without actually selling. He is Ashley Latter. He comes to us from Manchester in the United Kingdom, a huge Man U football fan, of course. He has delivered over 20 years worth of ethical sales training, 26,000 hours of courses and speeches, and just really delivering this message. And of course, the author of 3 wonderful books. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ashley Latter. Ashley, how are you doing today, sir?
Hi, thanks, Stephen. Really good. Bit cold in London today, but I'm really good. So thanks for having me. Shall I just kick off? Okay, so welcome, and first of all, can I just say thank you very much for attending this webinar this evening, How to Sell More Without Selling. I do appreciate that you are all busy. If you're listening to this from the UK, then I know it's the evening and it's family time, so I do really appreciate it. If it's the USA, it's probably about lunchtime, depending on where you are. So I am honoured, and my goal in the next 59 minutes or so is to really give you some useful information, some useful communication tips that you can use instantly today or tomorrow, and that will help build better, stronger relationships with your patients, and hopefully get some more of them saying yes to whatever treatment plans that you are offering your patients. But I will have a bias this evening on 6 Month Smile cases. So what I'm going to do basically is we will develop a few skills this evening. I'm going to take you through what ethical sales actually is, and what are some of the important skills and attitudes that are really essential to a successful consultation. I've developed over a 20-year period, as Stephen said, a unique approach to a perfect consultation. It's 8 steps, and I'll walk you through those 8 steps with you this evening, so you've got like at least a framework on what to start and where to go. But I will be concentrating on 1 stroke, possibly 2, depending on the time we have near the end of the presentation, of some of the most important steps that you can take. And I will give you some really powerful questions that you can ask your patients that will create more opportunities. And the last 5 minutes, I'll just very basically share with you a couple of resources that we can do that can help you if you've enjoyed this evening and you want to take it a bit further. So very quickly, to get the best from tonight, please have a very, very open mind. I'm going to share some ideas with you. Please do something different tomorrow or today. So I'm going to, like I said, I'll give you a blueprint, so there'll be things you can try out and just do it. Just try them out. I have got about some slides together. I've probably got about 50 slides. So if you'd like to receive these slides, please send me an email at ashley@thesellingcoach.com. That's ashley@thesellingcoach.com. I will give you that email address at the end of the presentation. I'm also going to share with you some key skills, but I'm going to share with you how this program or how my tips have worked in any area wherever you are based. Often I go to courses and I hear people say, well, that's a really good idea, but that won't work in my area because my clients can't afford it, or my clients are different. And what I'm going to share with you this evening is actually that some of the best success stories we've had for my clients have been from what we call in the UK traditionally working class areas. So all the material I'm going to share with you will work wherever you are based. So please, for the next 58 minutes, when I join webinars and when I take part in courses or anything like this, I shut the door, I get a beer, I get a pen and paper, and I switch my phone off. And so if you can do the same, that would be great, because I will share with you, I promise we'll share with you some real tips that, like I said, will make a real difference. Very quickly, there's just 4 different ways of how you can follow me in the future. We do a lunch and learn video every single week or every other week. So we upload those to YouTube. So if you want to see more of these resources that I'm sharing with you, then please sign up for those videos. And there's about 50 odd of those tips and my YouTube videos as well. So very quickly, Stephen just gave you a very, very quick overview of who I am, but I'm going to share with you a little bit about myself. It's and there is a very, very important lesson to all this. So I literally we'll give you a 3-minute overview of who I am. I'm not a dentist or an orthodontist, but very quickly how I got involved with the dental market was 20 years ago. I was delivering a sales course. I used to work with an organization called the Dale Carnegie organization based in Manchester here. And I was delivering a sales course of which we had normal people you'd associate to take a sales course. And these were people like radio, recruitment, engineers, IT, all sorts of people. But right at the bottom of the list was 2 dentists. And I was sort of racking my brains why 2 dentists were taking a sales course with me. So I got to meet them the night before, and I asked them, why are you taking a sales course? What's happening? And for the next sort of half an hour, they told me all the challenges they were facing. They were very, very technically brilliant. They could place veneers, crowns. They both could place implants. They could do all the funky dentistry, but what they couldn't do was sell it, or what they couldn't do was communicate it. Often they would talk very technical. They would give patients large treatment plans and say, go home and think about it. And the other thing they did was they weren't particularly good at discussing fees. So I was quite excited for these 2 dentists, and and they took part in the course. And on the second day when we finished, I asked them how did it go, and they put the thumbs up, and I wasn't quite sure if they really enjoyed it. So I said to them both that 6 weeks later I'll give you a call and we'll just see how things have gone. And I remember the night like it was yesterday. It was 6 weeks later. I'm lying on my couch at home, and I was wondering how those 2 dentists got on with my course. And I was thinking, should I ring them? Should I not? Should I ring them? Should I not? And finally, I sort of stepped outside the comfort zone and decided to ring them. And literally, those 2 phone calls changed my life, because basically both those dentists told me that their treatment plan acceptance had increased. More patients were saying yes. They weren't discounting anymore, but the main thing they told me was, for the first time ever, they were delivering the dentistry they loved to do and their patients wanted. And I kept in touch over a series of weeks, and they kept telling me that their successes were, they were still improving and they're still getting great results. And then one day, Neil Sampson, he asked me, he said, look, would I be willing to do a course just for dentists? And he said, we spoke to a lot of dentists and they'd be keen to do a course like this. And I said, yes, why not? And then 6 months later, I walked into a room with 26 dentists in Oxford. It was near Oxford University here in the south of England. And I delivered my first ever ethical sales and communication course. And in those days, we had to, the word sales was very, very small. And obviously the word ethical and communication were sort of bigger in size. And really, it's from those 2 dentists in that one course. And if you fast forward today, I've delivered the a 2-day program, a 2-day ethical sales and communication course now to 16,500 delegates worldwide in 14 different countries. I've written 3 books. Those are my latest books now. Don't Wait for the Tooth Fairy and You Are Worth It, How to Discuss Fees with Confidence and Achieve the Income Your Services Deserve. And nowadays, we as an organization, we have this team of about 7 of us now, and we deliver various programs from the reception course, presentation and communication skills courses, practice managers. We have an advanced ethical selling and entrepreneur group with some online courses as well. And we also deliver a podcast, which is with my good friend Chris Barrow, called 2 Reds Are Better Than One. So I've delivered best part now of about 26,000 hours of coaching in the dental world, which probably, I'm not quite sure as many people have done more than that, but there's not really a week that isn't going by that I'm not somewhere or another delivering these communication courses. And I've been over to the USA several times, India, Canada, Australia. I go every year now. And, it's a privilege to work in your industry. And I'm pretty glad I made those 2 phone calls, because I know at one stage I wasn't going to do so. So if I can give you one piece of advice straight away is make time each day to make phone calls to your patients. Make time each day to make 5 to 7 phone calls. Ring your patients up at home, and if they came in for a difficult procedure or something we were challenged by, maybe we were nervous, give them a call, and the goodwill it will bring is really phenomenal. I really am privileged to do what I do. I've got clients all over the world. Here's some courses I've recently done. The one in the corner there is India, and the course there in Sydney. And when I'm not doing this, I love walking in the Lake District, and that's the mountains in the near Manchester. That's my wife and kids. And this is a course I did recently in Chicago, one of the biggest courses we ever did. And we had a few of the 6 Month Smile instructors take the course, Aaron Elliott, Brooks Hay, and a few of the other guys as well. So we've been all around the world to deliver the courses. And I just wanted to show you this slide. And these are clients. Well, the one in the corner there, the right-hand side, sorry, that's my wife. That's us in the Lake District again. But these other pictures are just pictures of the clients. And these are some of these pictures here are 20-year relationships. In fact, the one on the left-hand side in the corner there is Neil and myself walking in the Lake District recently. And Neil was the very, very first dentist ever to take my course. So another key message really is to love your patients like your own wife and kids. And it really is, in my opinion, my business and your business is all about relationship building. And I'm going to share with you, some key skills that will help you develop some really good relationships, some world-class relationships, and create some great opportunities for you. So I know some of you have asked me some tips this evening on how to sell dental treatment in an ethical way, but these are some of the successes that we are getting, and we get emails like this every single day. And I will share with you this proven formula that Jazz Gill has used on my course. And like I said, I'm going to share with you a proven approach. So, what is sales? When I asked this question, I've delivered. If my voice is a bit croaky, it's because I've just delivered basically 6 days a week for the last 4 weeks. But it was last Saturday. I was in London, and we had about 80 dentists. I was speaking at a conference, and I asked the question, "How many people are in sales?" And about 30% of the room put their hand up, and the other 70% were quite adamant they're not. And the question is this: would you agree that every single day you are selling an idea to another human being, whether it's a dental treatment that they need to have for health or need purposes, or a cosmetic? Would you agree that every single person in your practice is selling ideas to another human being? And in fact, in my opinion, the single most important person within your practice or office, if you're listening to this in the USA, is the receptionist, because she is the first port of call. She is the first person, she makes the first impression, whether it's a good one or a bad one. And some occasions will decide whether the patient will come through the door or not. So I believe that everyone in your practice is in sales. And all it needs basically sometimes is one person. I call them sales prevention officers, but all it needs is one person not to be in sales, and the baton can get dropped. So everyone in your practice is involved in the communication, is involved in selling ideas to the patients, and everyone needs everyone. So what is ethical sales? What is my definition of ethical sales? Well, like I said, I will go through 8 steps with you, and I'll go through them with you in order, in detail, so that you have a framework. But here's my definition of what ethical sales is about. It's not about selling things to patients that they don't want and need. It's not about forcing services or treatments onto patient. It really is about doing 4 things extremely well. And the 4 things are building relationships with the right type of patient. Now, the key word there obviously is relationship, and it's building rapport. And I will share with you this evening my favorite ever rapport building story that I think you'll get so much mileage from. But the other key word there is right. Now, what do I mean by right? Okay, so I will share with you this evening some key skills that will help you to hear a yes more often. But the key thing is you have to have the right type of patient who's genuinely interested in what you've got to offer. And what you need to recognize is not everyone is interested in having lovely white straight teeth. And sometimes what I find is that dentists can sometimes get a little bit, can take rejection personally. And sometimes you just need to accept that some people would rather spend £600 or $800 on a tattoo for their backside than have nice teeth. And if a patient says no to you, what you mustn't do is take rejection personally, because it really never is. And the key thing there really is you have to have the right type of patient who's genuinely interested in what you've got to offer. But about 30 minutes time, I will share with you some key questions that you can ask in a consultation that will create lots of new opportunities for you. If you just did this one thing I'm going to share with you later, I promise you, you'll create more opportunities. But the thing you need to recognize is that you can see somebody with crooked teeth, you can see somebody with silver fillings or gaps or yellow stained teeth, and you can ask them questions and they might just turn around and say they're happy the way things are and they don't want to do anything, and can I just get my checkup and I'd like to get out as quick as I can. And what you need to recognize is that's fine, because they are not the right type of patient to start off with. And that's what's the key thing. So the key thing is the right type of patient, and we start off with building rapport. Now, the second thing we do in ethical sales is ask questions to find out what their problems are. I can guarantee one thing, that there's thousands and thousands of dollars or thousands and thousands of pounds of untapped treatment plans sitting in your patients as we speak now. I just this second this evening got off the phone from a dentist called Rebecca Davidson. She took my 2-day ethical sales and communication course 6 months ago. She came back and took my advanced ethical sales and communication course 3 weeks ago. And just in the space of less than 5 months, she signed up 16 brand new 6-month smile cases, 6 months cases in a very, very working class town in Yorkshire, in north of England. And most of these, if not 90% of these, were with existing patients. And it was just by having a conversation. So the key skill really is asking questions. And these skills I'm going to teach you tonight will work great with new ones, but also will work great with existing patients as well. Now, the third thing about ethical sales is about solving problems. Our job is to solve problems, and we have to solve problems in a language that the patient understands and that they get excited about. And it's called win-win. And again, I haven't got a great deal of time this evening to go deep into that, but I will touch on the type of language that's important that the patient needs to hear. And the last part is what we call the commitment step. And the commitment step is when you turn around to the patients and you say, look, here was some of your problems that you told me about. Here's the best solution or best solutions for you. How does it sound? What do you think? How does this appeal to you? What do you feel? How do you feel about this? And then hopefully the patient comes back and says, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Yes, it's exactly what I want. And then what you've got is what we call commitment, where the patient is committed to you. They're committed to ongoing treatment, and they're committed to you as a relationship. So ethical sales is about doing 4 things extremely well. And it's building rapport with the right type of patients. It's asking questions to find out problems, solving them in a language that they understand and get excited about, and then asking them how do they feel about that. Is that the sort of thing they're looking for? And when the patient comes back and says yes, you have now got commitment from them where they are genuinely interested in what you've got to offer. But what you need to recognize is that every single person in your practice is in sales. And when we work with the whole team, and you get the whole team singing off the same hymn sheet, from the receptionist, the practice manager, to the dentist, the whole team all working together, hygienist, amazing things really do happen in your practices. So let's look at what is important. So if I was to ask you a question, and I was asked to say to you now, please write down the initials of somebody who you know who, in your view, is someone who's really good in sales. So in your opinion, it may be a friend, a relative, an uncle, it may be a work colleague, maybe it's a dentist, maybe it's a supplier to you that comes in and supplies services or goods to your practice. I'd like to write down the initials of that one person. And if I was to give you sort of 30 seconds or so, what traits would you say that person has? What traits, what skills, what attitudes do you feel that person has? So just write down very quickly some skills, some attitudes that these people have, and then I'll share with you my list. So, just to save a bit of time, here's one I prepared earlier. So if you look at the skills and attitudes, so you've got skills such as really good communication skills. They are great listeners. People think that salespeople have the gift of the gab, but actually what they are is tremendous listeners. They listen very empathetically. They're good at overcoming objections if the patient has any. They're good at commitment, getting the patient to buy into their ideas. They're great people skills. They talk benefits. They talk about benefits on an emotional level. And of course, they're good at discussing fees. Now, there's many, many more skills than that, but there's just 6 or 7 there to start off with. And then, of course, on the other side is attitude. You've got the positive, flexible, they're self-confident, they're enthusiastic, they're those excitable people, optimistic, adaptable, and they have belief. They have belief in what they're offering the patient is in their best interest. Now, probably on the other list, you probably had product knowledge as well, and that's the actual technical ability of actually doing the job. Well, what we've done is, and what studies have shown over many years, is actually about 85% of your success in a consultation is applicable to skills and attitude. And only about 15% is applicable to the technical knowledge. So you can have all the technical ability in the world. You can be the best dentist in the world. You can be the best implantologist. You can provide the best orthodontics. But if you can't get across your ideas, if you talk too technical, if you're not that great at building rapport, if you're not a good listener, then you will never get this or achieve the success that you're looking for. A great example of this, I was working with a practice last week, and I was coaching a dentist, and it was she operated on 6 month smile. She done 8 consultations in the last week, and only 3 people signed up, and 5 didn't. And we just practiced and rehearsed her consultation. She showed me how she does it before the start of the course. Well, literally within a minute of just asking 2 questions, she launched into a technical version of presentation. And very quickly, you could tell she was putting the patient off. So, like I said, you can have all the skills in the world, all the technical ability, but about 85% of your financial success is down to your skills and your attitude. And the typical, what I have found is over the many, many years of being in this business, in this industry, that many dentists spend most of their time learning the technical skills, but spend very little time developing your communication skills. And, if you leave here today and you get nothing at all from this evening, but just this, just think about a typical day. And when I ask this question, how much of the time do you actually deliver dentistry and how much time are you in communication? And many dentists say 50-50. So you spend all your time learning 50% of the technical ability, but spend very little time learning how to sell what you do. So to quick summarize very quickly, if you really want to become more successful, more patients saying yes, then investing time and learning how to market and sell what you do, you can't get a greater return back on your investment. It's still important to develop your product knowledge, your technical skills. That's still crucial, but you've got to learn how to communicate what you do as well. It doesn't necessarily mean if you're the best technically, you're going to be the best, most successful. And develop your communication skills. And like I said, this evening I will share with you some key skills that will make a real difference for you. Before I go on to that, one thing I'd like to share with you, and this is something that we discuss all the time, or I get asked all the time, and people ask me, what do you think the common denominator of success is? Why do you think some people are more successful than others? And there's many things. There's attitude, there's positive and different things like that. But one of the other things I've also recognized is what's also important is self-confidence. And we represent self-confidence by a process of what we call the comfort zone. And the comfort zone is an area in our lives where we like to operate. It's doing the things we like to operate. It's nice, it's easy, it's cozy, and it's warm. And when I speak to dentists, these are some of the things that they find uncomfortable. So it may be closing a treatment plan. It could be overcoming a price objection from the patient. Believe it or not, a lot of dentists find actually the discussion of fees challenging. They don't like to do it. So they consistently undercharge a lot. Dealing with difficult patients, or even handing out referral cards. I was with a practice yesterday in Ireland, and we were talking about how to get more clients. We talked about different ways, but actually still the easiest way of obtaining new clients or getting really good clients for your door is handing your existing good clients referral cards. And yet it's one thing that most dentists really find uncomfortable. So this is my comfort zone. And one day I'm pushed outside my comfort zone. It may be a patient queries my prices. Maybe it's, you know, I'm dealing with a difficult patient. And my normal reaction is I want to go back inside where I like to operate. And the one thing I want to share with you really, that if you really want to become more successful, if you really want to become, achieve the success that you want in dentistry, in selling, you really need to do things sometimes that are slightly uncomfortable. And if I can give you one piece of advice, it's a great quote here from Vincent van Gogh. The key to success is for you to make a habit throughout your life of doing the things that you fear. So if you don't like to hand out referral cards, once you start doing it every day, it actually becomes a lot easier. If you find the discussion of fees uncomfortable, start quoting fees, and what you'll find is it really does become a lot easier. So great little quote there. And start, if you really want to become successful, then you need to also look at developing self-confidence. So there's attitude, that's the comfort zone. Let me share with you now my 8 steps of a perfect consultation. The title of the presentation this evening was, you know, how to sell without selling, and I'm going to share with you how to do that in a few minutes. But here's the 8 steps that I cover on my 2-day ethical sales and communication course, so my advanced course. And this is what we cover in 18 hours of education. So the process starts off with preparation and building of rapport, how to connect with your patients. And that's, again, we're going to look at that as a key skill this evening. And then it's all about asking questions to create opportunities. And again, I'll go into detail with you that this evening. The third part is that once we've done the examination, we then go back and we provide solutions that address the patient's problems. And the key word there is that they address the patient's problems. So what we've got to do is talk on their language, or talk to them on the language that gets them excited, and that we are problem solvers. Now, to back up what we do with our verbal communication, then we need evidence. And these can be such things as video testimonials, before and after pictures, and different things that can help us with evidence. Once we've done that, we then discuss fees. Now, this is where we discuss the fees, and we don't really, or shouldn't discuss fees before that, because if you do that, then you possibly might get objections. So you've got to create the value first before you discuss the fees. Now, occasionally you get price objections or resistance, and they might get other objections. They could be nervous or scared of the treatment, and you've got to overcome their concerns in an ethical way. And of course, you've got to get some sort of commitment where they're happy to go ahead to the treatment, and then they become an ongoing patient. You follow up, you can get video testimonials, and that's a great opportunity as well to hand out referral cards. So there's the 8 steps that we go into. Let's look now at one of the key skills, and that's the key skill of building rapport. Now, like I said, I think if you at the start of the presentation, I worked for this organization for 9 years. I used to deliver their courses. I was a salesperson, and I also was an international master trainer. So I went around the world delivering or training trainers to become trainers. That was my job. I was an international master trainer. So I visited America, USA on 3 or 4 occasions every year to train American trainers. And I was actually very, very fortunate. Though Dale Carnegie died in the 50s, I was very, very fortunate to spend an evening once with Dorothy Carnegie, who was Dale Carnegie's wife, and she was 78 years of age, and an amazing networker, fantastic rapport builder. So if you've never read that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, I really suggest it's a book that you do read. It's 36 human relation principles on how to connect with people. But one of my favourite stories is from a client of mine, and I'm going to share this with you. It's in fact, I recently rewrote the Tooth Fairy book because of this one story. But there's a client of mine who's called Simon. He's got a dental practice in the south of England, and he once told me the story about a patient who made an inquiry over the weekend for implant treatment to him. In fact, the inquiry came in from his website, and over the weekend, emails went back and forward to this brand new client. The upshot was that an appointment was made on Tuesday morning at 8:30. Now, the night before, Simon is preparing. He's just, by the way, he's taken 3 courses with me over the last 3 months prior to this. So he's been actually lattered. He's done lots of my courses, and he's feeling obviously very good about what's happening in the next day. He starts to prepare for the next day, and he remembers this patient coming in at 8:30 the following morning, and remembers the email, clicks back to the email, and sees that this guy actually is a professional speaker. So he does what I do. Anyway, to cut a long story short, he clicks on his website and watches a couple of YouTube channels. Now, Simon had recently just taken one of my public speaking courses because he wanted to become a referral dentist and take referrals from other dentists. So he was arranging a referral evening. So public speaking was really high on his agenda. It was something that was really important to him at that moment in his life. The next day, he had a group huddle in the morning, and I strongly suggest you do group huddles in the morning. And he informed the whole team who was coming in and what was happening and where this patient was coming in for. And at 8:20, the patient arrived, greeted enthusiastically by the reception, who obviously knew all about the patient beforehand. And Simon then greeted the patient at the desk, at the reception area, took him into the surgery, and sat down on 2 chairs. So he didn't put him in the dental chair, just put him into 2 chairs, and spent the first 10 minutes building rapport and complimented the guy or the patient on his website and on the YouTube channels. Now, can you imagine if you're the patient, how you must be thinking? You know, getting replies over the weekend, a dentist taking a genuine interest and complimenting, by the way. And you'll be probably not surprised to know that within an hour later, the patient signed up to a £7,500 treatment plan, has subsequently come back and spent a further £5,000. So that's close on over $20,000, and has recommended patients on a similar amount. And all Simon did was become genuinely interested and did his research, prepared really well, and gelled. So the key skill here, the key lesson is to become genuinely interested. Build that rapport with your patients, connect with them. And once you've connected with them, then they become your friend. You become a trusted advisor for them. And you can build rapport, you know, in just a few minutes, you can really connect with your patient. Like I said, How to Win Friends and Influence People is a brilliant book to read. And like I said, Dorothy Carnegie was just lived her husband's principles. Now, I want you to picture the scene. I want you to imagine now that maybe you've built a little bit of rapport with your patient, and they turn around and said that they are interested in teeth whitening. Let's just say a patient comes to you and says they're interested in teeth whitening, and they asked you a little bit about the treatment. What would you say? What would you do? And how would you answer back? Just think about this for a few seconds and just think about what you would now say back to your patient. I'll just give you 10 seconds whilst I get some water. How many of you here would start talking about the process? How many of you here would actually start talking about the treatment? And how many of you here would actually be using some of this language? Like, there's 2 ways of doing this. We take an impression, we send it off to a lab. Maybe use the word gun shield or molds is another word I often hear. Maybe use the word bleach, possibly saying there may be some sensitivity, home care in the chair. But actually, how many of you really would be talking and selling the treatment? Now, when I do this exercise, often on my courses, it's amazing how many people actually do this. And I see this all the time. In fact, often I would do lots of mystery calls to dental practices, either on the phone or walking in. And I can guarantee in 99 out of 100, this is what happens. Now, what's happened here? Well, the biggest communication mistake that dentists make and their team members make is this, is they talk about the treatment without truly fully understanding what the patient's wants and needs are. Let me repeat that again. They talk about the solution, they talk about what you can do for the patient, the process, features of the treatment without truly fully understanding what the patient's wants and needs are. In other words, they sell too quickly. And because of this, you are missing out on many thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars or pounds worth of opportunities. And it's the biggest mistake. I see this happening everywhere in the world, whether it be the USA, Sydney, UK, Spain, Holland. I've the recent done courses over there. It's something that happens all the time. And what ethical sales is about, it's not about selling. It's not about, hard selling stuff. It really is about a conversation. And the key skill here is about asking questions. It's really finding out what the patient's problems are, listening on their agenda, and then providing a solution that not only addresses their problems, but excites them at the same time. And what I find is that a lot of dentists do this, is that they talk about what they do without truly finding out what the patient's wants and needs are. In other words, they provide prescriptions. So prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. And what happens when you do this? Well, when you do this, number one is you never really truly find out what the patient's wants and needs are. And number two is you can often make assumptions. And you've probably heard the expression, if you assume you make an ass out of you, you make an ass out of me. And what happens is also the patient feels like you haven't really listened to them. You haven't really listened to what their wants and needs are. Another key skill is that, you won't achieve the success that you deserve. I want to just share with you, probably haven't got time to talk about both those cases, but a dentist who recently took one of my courses, and when I followed up on the telephone, talked about a patient that came in to see her. She worked at a checkout at a supermarket, and the dentist had recently taken the 6-month Smile course and asked questions to find, if there's anything at all that bothered the patient. Never asked this patient any questions before, and then she just opened up, and she hated her teeth. She never liked the teeth; they were a bit crooked, and she was in a job she didn't like, and she felt held back because of a smile. And she always wanted her teeth straightened, but she could never afford it. She was never, like I said, she was in a job that really paid well. And the dentist kept pressing. He explored more questions, found out what it was, and eventually he did the treatment. And she came in over about a 10-month period, I think it was, all in all, and allowed her to pay or spread the payments 10 months on an interest-free basis. And he told me, that would have never happened unless he was asking questions. So there's many, 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 many advantages of asking questions. Rather than start talking about what you can do for the patient, what we need to do is start asking questions. By the way, let me just go back a couple of slides. Can you see the language, by the way, we've used here? We take an impression, we send it off to a lab. What's a lab? Manchester, Labrador's short for Labrador's a dog. Bleach. Bleach in the UK is what we put down the toilet. So think about the language that we use. But let me share with you now, and this is probably one of the most important slides in the whole presentation. Let me share with you now some key questions or structure for some of the questions that you can ask in a consultation. So you might want to write this down. But like I said, if you send me an email, that's ashley@thesellingcoach.com. That's Ashley, ASHLEY, @thesellingcoach.com. I will send you these slides. So it starts off with current situation. So current situation questions are how things are now. So it's how things are now. So the patient did ask us about teeth whitening. Maybe a good way of, rather than talking about the solution or talking about the treatment, is asking, tell me a little bit about your concern now then. Tell me how you rate your smile now. Tell me how are things now. So that's called the current situation. So you're asking questions about what the situation is now. The second set of questions you're asking are what we call the desired. Desired is how would you like things to be? So if we were sitting here in a few weeks' time, or sitting here in a few months' time, describe your perfect smile. Describe how you'd love your teeth to look. That's a very, very powerful question, because you ask that question, by the way, often the patient will share with you 2 or 3 or 4 things that they actually want doing. They might notice or tell you that they'd like the silver fillings, made white, or they might turn around and say, I don't like this gap or something like that. So if you always ask that desired situation question, then you'd be surprised at how many other things they actually might tell you they want to have done. Now, the third type of questions are what we call the why now. How long have you been thinking about this for? So why now? What's caused your interest in this treatment now? Do you have an event or social situation coming up where this is important to you? And then the patient starts talking to you on what we call an emotional level of why it's important to them, why they want the treatment, what their problem is in their real life. Now, once we've done that, this is the magic. And this is when you go back to the patient and you summarize back to them exactly what they have just told you. So it might go something like this. So Mrs. Jones, thanks for sharing with me your thoughts. Now, could you mind if I summarize back to you? So your current situation is you're 4 out of 10 at your teeth. You don't like the color. You think your teeth are stained and you're not happy with your silver fillings. And what you're looking for is your teeth to be a Hollywood white. You want them as white as you possibly can get them. You want those silver fillings made white so they match the rest of your teeth. And the main reason why you decided to have this done is that you are bridesmaid for your sister's wedding and you want to be able to smile on the photographs. Have I summarized that correctly? Does that sound about right? Now, when you can say that back to the patient, you'd be amazed. They start nodding and start saying, yes, you've got it all absolutely right. Now, what happens is once they have started nodding and once they start saying, yes, 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 you've got it right, believe it or not, they're starting to buy from you. And you've not even told them anything at all. You've not told them about the treatment. All you've done at this stage is ask lots of questions, but already they are starting to say yes to you. And the last question is what I call the magic question is, so, Julie, if we could do this for you, what would it mean to you? What would it mean to you? So there's a structure to the questions that you can ask. So it's current situation, it's how things are now. Desired is how you like things to be. Why now? Tell me how long you've been thinking about it for. Do you have an event or something coming up where this is important to you? You play back what the patient tells you, you summarize back to them, and then you ask what we call the what would it mean to you question. What would it mean to you, Julie, if we could do this for you? What difference do you think it would make? And the patients start telling you the major benefits they will gain by having your treatment, in which case they're starting to buy from you. In fact, if you think about it, the idea becomes theirs and not yours. So here's some questions. Let's say, for example, the patient asked about teeth whitening. So here's some questions you could ask them. We have various systems. Julie, do you mind if I ask you a few quick questions to see which is best for you? Now, I love that phrase. Do you mind if I ask you a few quick questions so we can find out what system is best for you? And there's a few quick questions there for you that can help you with your consultations. Have you been thinking about this for long? Why now? Do you have an event or something coming up? Now, that's great questions you can ask if the patient inquires about teeth whitening. If they don't, and maybe they're interested in 6 month smiles, then you can use similar questions, but you just change the format. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your smile? Have you been thinking about this for long? Can you give me an example where this bothers you the most? When you ask that type of question, you can really feel or get the patient to share with you where it bothers them the most, or where they feel But what they really do there is share with you where the problem hits them the most. And when they do that on an emotional level, you start to really truly understand what the patient's wants and needs are. And the final question again, what would it mean to you if we could do this for you? So I hope that's been useful. And then what you're doing here is you are learning how to ask questions. And when you ask questions, you've got that connection, you've got that rapport building. What happens is they start to think that the idea becomes theirs. They start to emotionally open up to you, and you will see more patients saying yes to your treatment plans. Now, very quickly, because I'm looking at the time here, and I know I'm loads to tell you, but when you talk about solutions, like I said, by the way, when we covered the questioning process in the course, we spent about 6 hours on this. I've only really scratched the surface, but hopefully those questions will give you some ideas of what you can use. You can use these this afternoon. If you're in the USA, use them this afternoon. If you're with UK, use them tomorrow morning. Now, one thing I want to talk to you a little bit about, just a couple of minutes, is the language that you use. And here's another challenge I find with most dentists is if you can take the analogy of an aeroplane and the destination, the patients are interested in the destination. They want to know what the benefits are, what it's going to mean to them, how it's going to help their confidence. That's what they're interested in. But what I find is that the dentists or the doctors want to talk about the aeroplane. And what you need to recognize is that patients are interested in what it will do for them. And only very few are really interested in the actual journey itself. Yes, you've got to tell them, I accept that. But what you've got to do really is get them excited about what you can do first for them. So always remember that the patients are interested in the features, are interested in the benefits and what it will mean for them. And once you start using that language and you start showing evidence that excites them, then you will see your treatment plans increase. And I do accept that sometime later on in the consultation, you have to talk about the process, the pros and cons, and you have to do consent really well. But at this stage, what we're trying to do is get the patient excited. So I hope this has been a little bit useful. I hope you've now understood really that selling is not telling. It's actually asking questions. And if you ask really good questions, amazing things happen in your consultations. And it really is about becoming a really good listener and listening empathetically and listening to understand what your patient's wants and needs are. So what I like to do, please, is I'm a very much takeaway guy. If I ever go on courses, it's important to me that I do something different. But what I like to do, please, is just think about the last sort of 55 minutes and think, okay, what would you do differently? What would you take away from this session today? Write something down and think about some patients who are coming in tomorrow, maybe this afternoon, and maybe think about some of the questions that you could ask and how would you, maybe build rapport differently. So please do something differently. You've invested, like I said, an hour in this. So, and let me know how you get on. It'd be good to hear that. So just want to have a quick recap on today's session and just share with you a resource that we can help you with. Remember I said before that 85% of your financial success is down to skills and down to your attitude, and 15% is applicable to product knowledge. I hope you've realized this evening how I've only given you a little sample of 1 or 2 of the 8 steps that we cover on the process, on the ethical sales. We didn't do anything at all on how to sell it really, or how to discuss fees, overcome objections and closing. But I hope you've realized the importance of just a small part of the selling process. And like I said, those are the 8 steps again. So if you are genuinely interested and learning how to take these forward, then I just want to talk to you a little bit about my 2-day ethical sales and communication course, and also a great resource as well at the end, an online course that you can use anywhere in the world, and I'll share that with you. But basically, like I said, we've had about just under 17,000 delegates now take the 2-day ethical sales and communication course. And I think the main thing that dentists tell me is, in fact, all dentists, when they take the course, is I never knew what I didn't know. There's a great expression, you never know what you never know. And it's amazing the new skills or new strategies that can pick up from my course. But in short, what they do is they tell me that they build stronger relationships with the patients. They're able to deliver more of the interesting dentistry. If you're listening to this in the UK and maybe you're a National Health Service dentist, very quickly we're helping NHS dentists improve their private treatment by 100 to 300% very, very easily without impacting your NHS commitments. You'll be able to discuss fees with much confidence. And one of the books we will give you, by the way, is how to discuss fees with confidence. But the main thing, besides increasing sales and increasing the profits, which is all important, one thing they always tell me is, for the first time I'm delivering the dentistry I love to do, the first time I bought the kit, I bought the materials, I bought the box, but I've never really used all the skills that I had, but your course allowed that to happen. And that's really what I get my buzz from, is when you make a difference to your patients' lives. When I was chatting to Rebecca today, and she says, I've got some cases finishing now, and we're getting the videos out, and patients are literally crying, with joy at the difference. That really helps, that I get a real satisfaction, because my training's helped you develop these skills. So if you were to take the courses with me in the UK or Australia, wherever we do the programs nowadays, your investment is normally about £1,300 plus VAT for the 2-day program, and you get the 2-day course, manual CPDs, books, and a follow-up coaching call. But what we've done is recently, we just launched this in the last 6 months, and it is becoming incredibly popular. In fact, we've got nearly close to 130 dentists who have signed up to this recently. And if you are really committed to wanting to develop these communication skills, and really committed over the next year or so to give me 4 to 6 days, you don't have to give me the whole 6, but give me a few days of your time, we can transform your communication skills, and in most occasions for the rest of your life. And what it basically means is you can, for a deposits of £445 and 12 monthly payments of £97, you can take any of my courses anytime you want, anywhere in the UK or the world, for a 12-month period. So you can take my 2-day ethical sales course as many times as you want. You can take the advanced program. You can take the self-confidence and presentation skills course. You can take that as well. Like I said, you can take as many of my programs you want for a 12-month period. And we've got some dates coming up. These are the 2-day programs. Unfortunately, we've got some courses that were a bit full at the start of the year, but we've got programs coming up. We will, in the next three days, be putting the rest of our diary for July, September, October, and November. We will have a further 8 to 10 courses going in the diary for the 2-day program. And for the rest of the year, we'll be doing that in the next, like I said, the next 3 or 4 days. I just needed to sort my diary out. And if you are interested, those are the dates. And here's the bonus. If you decide to join the Success Club, then we will give you my online 2-day ethical sales and communication course as an online course. So this is the 8 videos, the 8 steps. I teach this online course exactly like I would a real program. So you can take it online. You've got it for life. You can take it with your team if you want. And the beauty of this program is that the whole way through, I use a orthodontic example the whole way through. And video 8 is a 24-minute consultation of me doing the whole steps from start to finish. So you have a blueprint, 24 minutes, last video, on exactly how to do it from start to finish using all my 8 steps. Now that's normally £1,200, but you have that for life. You can keep that. If you are the type of person who likes to learn online, but maybe you live outside the UK and it's difficult for you to get to my courses, then we had a Black Friday event over the weekend, and we did a 50% offer on the program, and we will keep the same offer for you for a further 24 hours. Sorry, and I'll give you the code that you need to go to in a few moments. So if you are the type of person that likes to learn online and maybe doesn't want to attend a course, or you live outside the UK and want to learn online or develop these skills online, then you can take my 2-day course as an online program with yourself and the whole team. And whatever happens, whether you take my Success Club, you join the Success Club, and then it didn't say that correct, or you join the online course, we will give you my 2 books and a set of CDs of the whole program as well. So you can listen to me in the car. So here's just something I want to talk a little bit about. This is Rebecca, and I spoke to her this evening. And like I said, she's signed up or done now or in process of treating 14 patients as a result of putting my skills into place. And the thing she did the most, by the way, was asking the questions. She said the question process was the real key skill there. That question process really made a difference. And she's based in Rotherham, which is typically a working class town in England. So it's a no-brainer. And before I go, I just want to leave you with one final slide. Now, whatever happens, we all love to do the dentistry we love to do, and that's really crucial. But along the line as well, also crucial is our financial success. And I don't play golf. I don't have any interest at all in golf. But I did a Google search a few weeks ago, and I was surprised to learn these statistics that really made an impact on me. So the number 1 golf earner, prize money, was Dustin Johnson last year, 2016. He earned $9.6 million. And Jason Kovac, I think I've said that correctly, he came number 50. He was number 50 in the money list. He earned $1.9 million. What surprised me, though, was the difference was only 1.4 shots per round. And that really made an impact on me. If you think about it, you just applied just some, doing a few different communication strategies, trying a few things, it can make a significant difference to your income. You can be the greatest dentist in the world, but you can't close or gain commitment properly. And you can do that, you can make a significant difference to your income. So if you are genuinely interested, like to know more, then it's that easy. All you need to do is go to my website, which is www.ashleylatter.com, ashleylatter.com. And if you go to my online courses, and if you can either buy the ethical sales and communication course at 50% off, then that works out just under $800. And also, by the way, we have a reception program, how to turn inquiries into appointments. We'll do that at 50% as well. All you need to do is type in 6MS, 50% discount. And like I said, you will get that discount at the desk, at the checkout. Checkout, that's the correct word. And if you are genuinely interested in joining my Success Club and know more, I can send you the details. Please email ashley@thesellingcoach.com. That's ashley@thesellingcoach.com. And I will send you just put on the heading Success Club. I'll send you more information. Please send me your contact details, and we can have a chat about it. So it's ashley@thesellingcoach.com. If you want a copy of the slides as well, please send me an email with slides, and we'll send that to you as well. I hope tonight's been really useful. I just want to finish on a motivational quote with you. And it's the story of the professor who typically walks on the beach every day by himself. And except for one morning, he sees in the far corner a young girl dancing. And he goes over to the young girl, he says, "Congratulations to see you, but what is it you're actually doing?" And the young girl says, "Well, as you can see, the tide is going out and the sun's coming out, and these starfish are going to burn and die. So I'm going to just pick them up and throw them into the sea." And the professor turned around and said, "Well, young girl, the beach is 20 miles long and there's hundreds of starfishes. You just cannot possibly make a difference." And with that, the young girl showed the professor the starfish, threw it into the sea, and said, "I don't know about you, but I made a difference to that one." And the moral of the story is, I hope the scene has been useful. I hope you had a lot from this. I think I've crammed quite a bit of information, but I hope you put something into practice and do something different. And hopefully you'll make a difference to your patients' lives. Because when you change their lives, especially when you treat your patients with 6 month smiles, you can change their lives and make a big difference. And hopefully we'll get a chance to work with you on some of our courses and some of our online resources and help you treat more of those patients so you can make a real difference to their lives. So thanks for coming. Thanks for attending. It's exactly 9 o'clock. That's not too bad. And thanks very much for 6 month smiles and Steve for organising this evening. And you want to finish the session off, Steve?
Yeah, Ashley, absolutely. Thank you so very much. That was fantastic. You know, I had the pleasure of seeing you speak at our 2016 provider conference, and it was fantastic then, and it was fantastic today. So thank you very much for sharing your expertise. Just a few little housekeeping items from 6 Month Smiles, whether you're a current provider or you are somebody who is interested in integrating 6 Month Smiles into your practice. I have a few quick offers for you. It'll only take a moment of your time. So I'm just going to switch over to my slides real quick and walk you guys through some of these items. All right. Sorry, just hold on 1 second, just trying to find that play button. I feel like they move it on me every time that we get into one of these situations. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and walk you through it, just simple right here. So how do you get started? Of course, you do have to take the 2-day hands-on 6 Month Smiles course. If you have already, we will have an offer for you as well. We do have some upcoming courses. They are normally $1,400 for doctors and $325 for team members. There are a few of our upcoming dates. You do get 15 CE credits per course that you take, and we do have additional courses over at 6monthsmiles.com. Just to let you know, we also have a special 1-day course in Jamaica that will be $750 for the 1-day course. You will be completely certified to do 6 Month Smiles after attending that course. And it's part of the Delivering Wow Summit, another course that really talks about social media and selling down there in Jamaica. So definitely check them out. And then we also, for our current providers, we have L2 courses coming up this next year. And I'll just let you know that we were able to sell out almost all of our L2 courses in the second half of 2016, so 2017. So please don't hesitate in booking one of those courses. But here's the best part, just for you who are on the line today, we are going to keep open our Black Friday sale. So if you are an interested provider, Friday L1 will get you the 6 Month Smiles 2-day course for $9.99, and then one of the best deals we do all year is Friday L2 will get you the L2 course for $9.99. Las Vegas and the earliest London courses next year are already close to selling out, so if you're interested, jump on them quickly. But other than that, thank you so much for joining us today. Another thank you to Ashley Ladder for providing all of his wonderful insights for us. And you will be receiving a copy of this in your inbox by next Tuesday. Thank you again, and have a great day.